Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the first episode of the Life Experiment. I'm Michaela.
And I'm Ben. Let's get right into it
Today's topic is
because
coping
we
with,
have a lot to talk about.
oh my goodness, we've been wanting to do this for forever. So we finally got our little heads together and decided to put a podcast together to help you deal with
Hmm.
life experiment, basically. We all go through it. So, like Ben said,
Yes,
let's get to it.
that's right. Because when you are working, it is your life. Most people do make it their life. And when you go there, you get up, you do a 9 to 5, whatever your shift is, 12 to 8, 11 to 7. It is your life. Most of us, when we go in, or all of us, when we go in there, we're trying to support our lives. We put our hopes and dreams into a job. And but the one thing a big mistake is, and one of the biggest mistakes is that people make their life or make their job their life, and they bring everything to that job, but the kitchen sink.
You meaning like as
You know what I
far
mean?
as yeah, it's like you mean is their emotions, their family drama, or even like their little knickknacks and pictures, and you know how they set it up on their desk, and it's like a second
Everything,
home to a lot. Yeah, everything. And so
everything, and that's a big mistake. In my opinion, that's a big mistake.
and I think yeah, and I must agree because when you bring these things to work, people, I mean, it lends for me people to be more intrusive, into your life. Yes, so I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, when people bring these little trinkets and their little drama to work, I mean that gives people an in for them to go in and attack you. Is the way I see it.
Right. Oh
You,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I mean, so many different things can happen at work. I mean, you can meet the love of your life, or you can meet your worst enemy, or you can meet your best friend, and
yes.
all of those things come in as a confluence of emotions that come in that define that daily work life experience. But one thing like I said, I like to really talk about and would like to hone in on is like, what is some of the worst things that has happened to you on your daily work experience. It doesn't have to be something specific, but it could be just a series of events that kind of make up the daily tenor of work where you just say, oh my God, I just don't really feel like getting out of bed this morning.
Well, I know for me, I mean, there's always,
Mhm.
it seems like drama follows me. And people say, well, when drama
Mhm.
follows you, it must be you. But, I had to take a second look at myself, and I must admit, and it's not me. I mean, there's people in the workforce that I consider as a classic book sociopath. I mean, they hone in and when they
Mhm.
hone in the person that they feel is vulnerable and that they feel in their eyes are good or even perhaps better sometimes, and you become a target without even
Mhm.
doing anything. You could just be sitting there, reading a book, and because of that little instance that you're sitting there minding your own business, they feel that they can attack
Mhm.
you. Some people just cannot stand to see people, being happy. And I think a lot of people in the workforce, for the most part, are not really happy at what they do. And so they come there angry and they want people to feel exactly the same way that they do. And so that lends to them
I
either
agree.
sabotaging your work, backstabbing. I mean, you heard of backstabbing coworkers. Just it lends to a
Mhm.
lot of things for people coming into work and being unhappy.
My definition of a workplace sociopath is someone that comes in and has the guise of a social butterfly, and they are out to really disrupt your life, your day, and really just make work those 8, 9, 10 hours that you work every day a total living hell.
Yeah.
And when they come in, they hone in on a particular person, and God forbid you happen to be the person that they hone in on, and they will use every trick in the book to sharpen their sociopathic skills. And when they do this, I mean, it can get you to the point where you literally want to take a Tommy gun or whatever kind of
Yeah.
weapon and just kind of take this person out of their misery. And I'm being serious. I mean, and that's why you. I mean, we're going to talk about that part later on, but it's like that's why you have to. be in control of your emotions every day. And in a lot of ways, and you can't really bring, you can't bring your whole self to the job. When I say your whole self, I'm not talking about your actual work job that you do. I'm talking about your whole emotional self. And if you bring, because you bring your whole emotional self to your job, you're bound to be disappointed.
I totally agree. And you see where there's
Hmm.
a lot of like workplace shootings. I mean, just you know,
Hmm.
just name it. You know, they even coin it now. You know, post office shootings because people they get
Right.
frustrated and
Right.
they don't know why. I mean, they really don't because I used to wonder myself when I hear when people say they go
Hmm.
people go ballistic like a post office
Right.
they start shooting people and at the workplace.
Hmm.
And now I see why, because I was wondering, where did that come from? It's because they're dealing with people in the workplace that are sociopaths and they cannot handle it. And that's what
That's
people
right.
need
Well,
to
see,
get
one
to
thing,
know.
right? No, but the one thing I do, I know we don't need to say that we agree any way, shape, or form with anybody that takes the law into their own hands if they have a problem at work. What we're trying to say is that when you bring yourself to a job and you bring your emotions there and you're going there to work, you're not going there to cause any drama. There are those who don't have that particular mindset. They have an agenda to disrupt your job. And a lot of people, because their job is their only life, they and if they do get fired, then they have nothing else. They feel that they have nothing else to live for. They want to take
Hmm. Right.
they want to end the person whose life who they feel ended their life. They ended their livelihood, ended their life, and unfortunately, the person who has either terminated this person's job or terminated, or ended this.
Right.
This is their person's livelihood, and when they come in and they realize, and they realize that that's not going to be the case anymore, that they're not going to be able to support their family, it starts to really grate on that person's mind. And you do, and you have to be in control of yourself. You have to be in control of yourself. You cannot let your workplace define your life outside of work, because you have to eat and you have to work and you have to, but you have to maintain a sense of
Right.
decorum and professionalism so that you don't become overburdened or become the victim of a sociopath at work.
Well, I agree.
You agree?
Yes, I
Hmm.
do
Hmm.
agree. And sometimes, I mean, it's easier said than done. And I agree with your suggestions.
Hmm.
People need to
Hmm.
actually, I guess, how would I say, find a friend or somebody in the workplace that will help them cope with it, even
Hmm.
outside of it, along with it being, just staying away from
Right.
it. It's hard to stay away from people in the workplace that are sociopathic because they will
Right.
do their best to try to get next to you. And
Right.
yeah, which is
We do have
unfortunate.
a lot of workplace bullies. Hmm.
Yes, exactly. And yeah, that brings to mind, all these bullying laws and Facebook
Hmm.
now. Then they got, you can't bully anybody on Facebook and but to me, those laws really don't seem to help because it's so intricate. Because I mean,
Hmm.
how can you prove
Right.
being bullied? You can scream
Right.
until, especially if you're of a particular, I don't know, race or I mean, sometimes people,
Hmm.
they try and gang up on
But
one person and
right.
yeah, and
But
then
but there was an incident you told me about, and
mhm,
it was about a woman at your job,
okay,
and she seemed to target you. And yeah, I think you want to tell everybody about it because what happened. I
right,
mean, this will give people a really good,
yeah,
clear view of what we're talking about, and
yes,
what it's like to go to a job and have someone actually target you in a systematic way in which they really, really pile on
yes.
the pain and
Well,
mhm,
yeah. Well, I can tell you, yeah. There was one of many instances, but I'll just tell you this one. I was at this
mhm,
one particular job, and this one young lady just automatically, as soon as I started, you can just tell the vibe that she just did not like me for what reason.
was she younger than you?
Um, no, she was an older person. I must admit, maybe by 15 years
Okay.
or so. And so maybe I thought
Okay.
maybe that
Okay.
have come into play. Here it's a younger woman coming
Mhm.
in, and not that we do the same
Mhm.
thing. I was in one profession and she was doing something else, and so
Mm-hmm.
So then everyone else, so to make a long story short, everyone else that came in that got hired, after me, or people that she knew before me, she just started what they call gaslighting me, just gaslighting me, gaslighting in a way
Mm-hmm.
that, she's not this, or she doesn't do great work and things like that. She hasn't even known me. She hasn't even known my work. I had to been there, what, a month or two, and she just started,
Really?
yes, yes, just making up these
Wow.
lies against me. And so it got to the point where she had that peak, she had gotten everybody on her side, that she was able to back out
Right.
and just let her minions, I call them minions because they didn't have a mind of their
Right. You
own.
took. Hmm.
Yeah, and then
Right.
they took over.
And you told me you did.
Hmm.
Right. And you told me that she would actually follow you around the office and she would actually study you and sit there and
Yes.
actually just stare at you at work to
Yes, and
study you. Hmm.
yes, and that was the most odd or amazing thing, that I have never had anybody literally stalk me at work. I can go to the bathroom,
Oh, it
and
happens.
yes,
Hmm.
just actually stalk me at work. And she, mind you, she sits right across from me. I will get up to go to the
Right.
restroom or to a break,
Hmm.
and 2 minutes later, she's behind me lurking, and and she doesn't care if I see her. And that's the thing that scares me,
Right.
is that she didn't care if I actually
Right.
saw her peeking around the corner, finding out what I'm doing, listening to my
Right.
conversations, and to the point where she started mimicking me. She started to do what I do. And it was and that was
Right.
because, and this is what I was thinking for myself. She did it because she
Hmm.
wanted to be like me, and that's what I
Right.
believe came into the part of jealousy,
Right.
and
And you
and a
also
lot.
told me that she also rearranged. Mhm.
Yes,
I'm
I'm
sorry. You
sorry.
also told me she rearranged things on your desk.
Oh,
And at night you would come in. I'm sorry. And the next day you would come in and you would say like, "Oh my God! I mean, what is going on?"
yes, that, yeah, and this is the people that will go to harm you, to make you paranoid
Right. But
at the
tell
way.
me. Right. But tell people what. Right. But tell people exactly what she did. What was the? I mean, you one day you. I mean, one day you go
Yes.
you left certain things on your desk. I think it was a plant or
Oh my gosh.
a fern
Yes.
or something or
Yes.
pictures
Yes.
or and the next day. I'm sorry. I'll let you
Yes.
finish the story. Hmm.
Yeah. This was just one particular incident where I had a
Hmm.
plant, and they had like this little raffle at work, and I won a plant, and then she came running up and she won a second plant. So of course the first plant,
Hmm.
was very nice and full and green, and the one that she had was not so nice. And this was around Christmas time,
Hmm.
by the way. It was a poinsettia, and so I come back. So I come back from a weekend. I was gonna bring my plant that Friday, but it was too heavy for me. So I left the office. I come back Monday. The plant was switched. And the reason why I know they were switched, because
Wow.
I know this. I know I studied her enough to know what type of person she is. So what I did is I wrote my name at the bottom of the plant, which she did not know about. And so when I went in, and that morning, Monday, it's like, oh my God, she took my plant just like I knew she would. And when I went and
Hmm.
asked, well, I didn't tell her. I'm sorry. I went and told the manager, and the manager looked at me with eyes
Right.
glazed over. No, you got to be kidding me. She wouldn't do that. And I was like, no, she did.
Hmm.
And see, this was like, and then I showed her the bottom of the plant where I had written my name on it, and she kind of looked. It's like, okay, I get it now. But see, these kind of things is what gets you agitated, especially when the manager
Right.
really didn't believe me in the first place, and I still don't think she believed me. But it's like, these are the kind of
Right.
the little things that eat at you in the workplace.
Right. And
And
it's definitely a form of gaslighting. I mean, somebody does something like that. I mean, if you think, and these are really what you would call workplace gaslighters, experts.
yes,
They know how to really, really get your feelings riled up. I mean, when they go and they do little things to, question, you start
yes,
to even question your sanity and stuff. And
that,
then if you go and you complain to human resources, I mean, everybody's looking at you like you're the one that started all of
like,
it.
you're the crazy one, exactly. And I don't know how
Hmm.
many times. I mean, there was with this same. It was another incident with this same young lady or older lady where she began
Hmm.
stealing from me. And everybody is like, oh, you
Mm.
know, she's not stealing from
Wow.
you. And I was like, well, yeah, because I specifically left my iPod. It was an iPod that I had at the time. And I
Hmm.
come back the next morning and it was gone. And she would do things like, because you get a feel for people after a while. They're,
Right.
how they are and what they do and their mannerisms and things like that. And I know she had
Hmm.
taken it. And, and it was just odd that, that my manager once again did not believe it. So you have got to really protect yourselves from people like this in the
Hmm.
workplace because
Oh yeah, but
once from stealing it could be something else. It can just go to you losing your job. As a matter of fact,
exactly.
I didn't lose my job, but I dealt with it for 10 years and I was not going to let them run me out.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I said, I'm going to wait at least 10 years so I can get some type of, retirement. Not that I'm on retirement age, but at least have something
Right.
in the
Mm.
bank, but you have got
Right.
to, and I'm sorry.
But what does a person do that doesn't have those kind of options? I mean, you just get into a job, and most of these people who, most of us who actually are working and who, livelihood. I mean, some and those who are just starting out. I mean, you don't know what you're in for. I mean, that's why, they have such, where such an interview process is so rigorous. But when you get there and, okay, you pass that first hurdle. Now you have the job. And when you get there, you realize that, oh my God, this is not what I expected because there is someone or a group of people that have targeted me because I'm a new person. And it's kind of like in the army, we call them
Yeah,
new jacks or, I know there was
right.
some words in the
Jugheads or
Marines
something. I
now
don't know.
where
I
somebody
don't
just
know
get
military.
jugheads,
Yeah,
right, right.
jugheads. That's in
Exactly.
the military, the Navy, when they, yeah.
Exactly. And when you just come in there and you realize that you're new and you don't really have the defenses in order to stave off what I would call a systematic attack from a workplace sociopath. Uh, these people really, really, really know how to target someone. They really what they do is they target it, what they perceive are your weaknesses.
Yeah.
You're new,
Oh yeah.
and if you do complain, you look like the kind of person that's a whiner, and you just got into the job. And I've seen this happen. I mean, I've seen it happen so many different times,
Yeah.
and so many people become dissuaded. And they become so downtrodden in the workplace. I mean, it's not what you expected. And so what I want to offer some people are perhaps until we get to the end, some suggestions on how to navigate the kind of workplace or any kind of workplace environment where you don't let a person define you. You define your
You
workplace. You set
exactly.
your workplace. You set the template.
Right.
You
You
see?
set the
So,
tone.
okay. Right, you set the tone, and like I said, I've had so many different instances I could share with you about what I've heard from other people and what has happened to me personally. I mean, I've been the jobs that I've been in. I mean, I've had people that have, targeted me in such horrible ways. I mean, they would go to the manager, they would say so many different things in order to gain some sort of leverage of control over a total stranger. And you wonder, what is this all about? And it is what it is, a power play. It can't use those skills uh with other people, or they've tried to use those skills with other people in other forms of their life, and a lot of people are not going for it. You
No,
see? And
exactly.
they try to target somebody they feel is the weakest person.
Yes, yes. But I like what you said. Yeah,
They try to target somebody.
yeah, and they really do. They always go for the weakest link, and not that
Hmm.
you're weak, but it's just that you're
Right.
good. And people, for some reason
Hmm.
in this life, they don't want to see good in a person. They always want to see bad because that's a reflection of themselves.
Right.
And that's what you have to realize
Exactly. But
when,
this is a daily thing.
yes, I'm sorry?
Right. You're right. Yeah, no, it's a daily. No, it's a daily thing. I mean, this is, and I should. These things don't just apply to the workplace. They apply to your neighbors. They can even apply to some members. And you can apply to your relationships, some members of your family. I mean, you have this sort of one-upsmanship, and between husband and wife, or boyfriend and girlfriend, parents and children, But in the workplace specifically, I mean, you have to maintain a certain stoicism. Uh,
Yes.
so that you don't let anybody get in the way of you making your money. right?
I
Because that's really
totally
what it's all
agree.
about at the end of the day.
Yes, your
Right.
livelihood.
You know.
But so what are,
Hmm.
Ben, what are some suggestions? You alluded to that earlier, on what we can do to actually combat, because you basically are in combat when
Well,
you're
back to
dealing
that,
with this
Michaela.
type of thing.
Right. Well, but yeah, Michaela, this is something I've been waiting for this forever. Tell
Yes.
everybody, tell people. One thing I find, and one of the most important things, is that you have to realize that a job is a job is a job. It is not your home. And I mean, what I mean by say that is that you ever notice when, when you walk into a job and you see people that have so many pictures of their families hanging around and so many pictures of their spouses, and there's nothing really wrong with that. But you have to realize that, life is fluid and nothing lasts forever. And let's just say if there was a downsizing of your job, or just for some reason, for whatever reason, your job is ended or you're terminated, you want to be able to make sure that when you leave there, that you leave and you don't turn back. You don't look back, and that you have a clean break. And I've seen this happen to a lot of people who have gotten themselves so entrenched in a job. They've got their pictures there, they've got their
Yeah.
food
Oh,
there,
yes.
they've
I've
got their
seen that.
mugs there. Yes, I mean, and it's like they live there. It's like it's like they know everything and they know about everybody, everything and everybody. I mean, I know someone, and I know with Kate, you know Kate, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh,
Kate told
yes.
us about how she, right. Kate, she told us about a woman who was one of her managers, supervisors, and she all of a sudden was they downsized the job, and she had to leave. And when she was packing, she had literally an office full of paperwork that she had amassed, of personal items rather, that she had amassed over the
Wow.
20
Like a U-Haul.
some odd years that she lived there. Exactly right, like
You had to
U-Haul.
you had to get a
Exactly.
U-Haul and
And
take it out.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's right. And the most important thing was she was devastated when she had to leave because she made this place her home. I mean, she was the kind of person, unless anybody feels sorry for this particular person, she was from what Kate told us, she is a very, very nasty person. And, she was the kind of person that knew everybody's business. She was the kind of person that got into everybody. She was a troublemaker. She was not a friend to a lot of the young women that came. We could talk
Oh,
about that
yeah.
later in another
Oh,
show,
yeah,
but she
definitely.
was right. She was not a friend to the young women that came there. So when it was, and matter of fact, I actually believe she was replaced by a younger person. And when they gave her the walking papers to say it's time to go, she was devastated. She was in tears. She would moan, and she
Oh,
went to
yes.
the very young people, the people she refused to help, she was crying on their shoulder. You see? And because she made this place her home. I mean, she did not know how to separate work
So
and home. And you have to be able to do that.
I agree. So in a nutshell, you're basically saying
Mhm.
is that a job is a job is a job, and that you don't
Right.
get so entrenched that you just can't walk out of there and leave it.
It,
Because when people see
it,
you, I see what you're saying. When people see you, they see you, with all your trinkets and all your pictures and all everything, your mugs.
exactly.
They
Ex-
you really become a target because they can walk up to you. Oh, well,
right.
who's this? You may be,
Right.
in a relationship, maybe I don't know,
Right.
interracial relationship or any type of relationship, and people
Right.
automatically
Mhm.
don't like you because of that. But if you keep your stuff private, then they don't
Whatever
have
reason.
anything to.
Exactly.
Yes, they have no
Exactly.
reason
You're
to
right. You let the
contact
place.
you. Yes,
Right. You let the place define you. You didn't define the workspace for yourself. You let the space define you.
yes,
And when you come in there and you've let this and you've trenched everything and you sort of,
yes,
set everything down. I've got my photos of my family. So keep your photos of your family in your house. All right.
yes,
Keep the
exactly,
photos of your family in your home. Don't bring anything that is personal to you to your job. That's why it's called a job. That's why
exactly.
it's called a job. You don't bring your personal effects and your personal items to your job because it is very. I mean, I know from experience. I was at a job and it was terrible. It was a horrible place. And
Yeah.
let's just say that when it was time for me to leave there, I never had any personal effects of my family, any photos. When I left there, they gave me 5 minutes to go. and I was gone in 4 minutes, and I
Exactly.
never looked back.
And you did not give them the satisfaction that you're sitting there prolonging it by,
That's
yeah,
correct.
picking up pieces and, to give them time to
Right.
let go,
Oh my God, no.
So
No,
you.
that's not me. That's not me, Michaela. No, that's not me. That's not no way. I have learned my lesson. I mean, I've been around on this planet a few years, so I can speak from experience. And that's the
Yeah.
problem I think with some people. It's like when and it is a very sad thing. I mean, when any kind of change and any kind, especially change, sort of a termination or ending or loss of a job for whatever reason. I mean, it can be very disheartening and very devastating, but you have to make a clean break. And that is why what we talked about in the beginning is that some people become so despondent and so downtrodden, and they feel that they have to target somebody. And because a lot of times, if it's a termination,
Yeah.
they want to target the person that they feel is responsible for ending their livelihood
Right.
or ending their life. They feel that their life is over.
Amen. I
They feel that
totally
their life
agree.
is over.
Yeah,
Right.
but
And so they take situations on their own hands. You cannot do that. You cannot give them the power, the sociopath, the satisfaction of thinking that you were this person that was weak, or you were this person that can't pick up the pieces from where you from a broken, shattered situation. You want to be able to let this person know that you can move on, and that this place did not define who you were. You define who you are.
wow, on that note, we are going to end the show. Ben, I'd like to thank you. We're going to follow this up. We're going to keep this
Hmm.
conversation going. This is a great topic.
Oh,
Many
yes.
people are very interested in how to navigate through this place called work. This job.
This
So
is
yeah,
only the beginning.
this is only the beginning. So please tune in,
That's
and we will see
right.
you
And
next
leave
week.
comments. Leave comments.
Yeah,
Whatever you think, if you have there some stories that you like to share about some of the worst things that happened to your at your job, or some of the worst things that happened to you, and tell us some stories, and more importantly, how do you survive what you thought was a devastating loss. But leave us some comments.
all right. Signing off.
Bye, Michaela.
Bye,
All right,
Ben.
Michaela.